Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
On the note of statements and maybe taking it a slightly different direction, because you've mentioned a few brands a few times, I want to leave you a bit of room to chat a little bit about the work you and the team are doing with one of your mainstay brands in Honeywell. I know it's a big project. You mentioned the kind of contribution it's had to the business and the fact that it's been there for a little bit now. Can you maybe, leveraging that press release from a month ago and dovetailing obviously only what you can share with us, tell us a bit about the project, what it means for you and the team, and how that's been advancing thus far?
The Honeywell project is actually a summary of our traditional mature business, where we make development fee, we make construction fee, and we're also making operation maintenance fee, right? So there's money. But you got to think about why Honeywell wants to do it. Honeywell is a great Fortune 100 company. Their products is in your life, whether you know it or not. They are everywhere. If you look at the financial reporting, they have huge revenue and net income. Great for them, right? But because of the decades of development that when they try to modernize their operations and so on and so forth, there are industrial wasteland left behind. Brownfield, landfill, and so on and so forth, hundreds of acres in different places. The traditional way is to cover it with a tarp and then just leave it, because really you couldn't do anything, right? So one of the Superfund sites in Upper State New York that we got introduced through the government and sit down with the executive of Honeywell, and we understand the EPA requirement, the Environmental Protection Act, the US EPA requirement, the state requirement. It's a liability on the balance sheet. So my team get involved. We studied the site. We were able to provide an alternative cap, which is a combination of a biological vegetation with a long, very advanced root system that will stop rainwater going through the contaminated material, producing toxic leachates, right? In the meantime, that by selecting different vegetation, such as flowers and so on and so forth, you can encourage butterflies, bees, and the small animals, so on and so forth. And on top, that we put the solar farm, because there's a 1 meter clearance between the low edge of the panel and the ground. So when we present this one, EPA agreed, the state regulator agreed, the Honeywell executive agreed. But what's interesting is that we are willing to put up our own money to do it. So because of this, we have to review the financial models and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, with Honeywell professional accounting and finance team, they look at this one, they said, you know what, Richard, we would like to own it. But if you could just do it for us. So we become a contractor to them, right? So now fast forward, $41 million later, 3 projects, 21 megawatts, in this area that supply green energy to the neighborhood. They achieved 3 strategic objectives. Number 1, they are there to make money. They are there to create value for shareholders. This one does bring value to their investors. Number 2, they are participants in the in the Inflation Reduction Act. So they have a need for investment tax credit, and this project provides investment tax credit. So they achieve their financial fiduciary duty to their shareholders. Secondly, they were able to turn a huge liability, environmental liability, into an asset, right? And thirdly, most importantly, is corporations like Honeywell, Google, Facebook, Apple. You can Google how they involved in renewable energy. They all have a great desire to be leaders in the environment, social, and governance, ESG. So now imagine yourself living beside this dump site for decades. Imagine how happy would you be. And now you are a subscriber, you're looking out your window, you see green, you see visual screening, there's solar panels quietly producing power, and you yourself have 10% discount on your bill. Then you consider how happy you are. So because of this, now the community relations, the government relations got improved hugely. And Honeywell is our long-term partner, but they are not the only one. And as I mentioned, major corporations, they all want to do good while do well, right? So that's a great example of our mature business.